sadness flies away on the wings of time. I always like walking in the rain, so no one can see me crying. It's amazing how someone can break your heart and you can still love them with all the little pieces. There are years that ask questions and years that answer. I do believe that if you haven't learned about sadness, you cannot appreciate happiness. Maybe we all have darkness inside of us, and some of us are better at dealing with it than others. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. To have been loved so deeply, even though the person who loved us is gone, will give us some protection forever. It is sad not to love, but it is much sadder not to be able to love. There are two types of people in the world: those who prefer to be sad among others, and those who prefer to be sad alone. So it's true, when all is said and done, grief is the price we pay for love. Nothing can cure the soul but the senses, just as nothing can cure the senses but the soul. First, accept sadness. Realize that without losing, winning isn't so great. Don't cry over someone who wouldn't cry over you. The word happy would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness. Tears are words that need to be written. Every life has a measure of sorrow, and sometimes this is what awakens us. You meet everyone twice in this life, when they come and when they go. One thing you can't hide is, when you're crippled inside, things change, and friends leave. Life doesn't stop for anybody. Life's under no obligation to give us what we expect. We take what we get, and are thankful it's no worse than it is. Life is a moderately good play, with a badly written third act. The good life is not one immune to sadness, but one in which suffering contributes to our development. Never be afraid of tears. Tear-filled eyes are capable of seeing truth. Tear-filled eyes are capable of seeing the beauty of life. To have felt too much is to end in feeling nothing. There is one pain I often feel, which you will never know. It's caused by the absence of you. With some pain is fraught. Our sweetest songs are those that tell of saddest thought. Our dead are never dead to us until we have forgotten them. Experiencing sadness and anger can make you feel more creative, and by being creative you can get beyond your pain or negativity. When you've suffered a great deal in life, each additional pain is both unbearable and trifling. Learning is a gift, even when pain is your teacher. What brings us to tears will lead us to grace. Our pain is never wasted. Our greatest joy and our greatest pain come in our relationships with others. There is a distinct, awful pain that comes with loving someone more than they love you. Breathing is hard. When you cry so much, it makes you realize that breathing is hard. Breathing is hard. When you cry so much, it makes you realize that breathing is hard. Worry never robs tomorrow of its sorrow. It only saps today of its joy. It is the unknown we fear. When we look upon death and darkness, nothing more. We're taught to be ashamed of confusion, anger, fear, and sadness, and to me, they're of equal value to happiness. excitement, and inspiration. Death is not the greatest loss in life. The greatest loss is what dies inside us while we live. Sad hurts, but it's a healthy feeling. It is a necessary thing to feel. The bitterest tears shed over graves are for words left unsaid and deeds left undone. Behind every sweet smile, there is a bitter sadness that no one can ever see and feel. Some days are just bad days, that's all. You have to experience sadness to know happiness, and I remind myself that not every day is going to be a good day. That's just the way it is. In deep sadness there is no place for sentimentality. Two possibilities exist. Either we are alone in the universe or we are not. Both are equally terrifying. Sadness is but a wall between two gardens. One must not let oneself be overwhelmed by sadness. Sadness is also a kind of defense. The walls we build around us to keep sadness out also keeps out the joy. Every human walks around with a certain kind of sadness. They may not wear it on their sleeves, but it's there if you look deep. We never taste happiness in perfection. Our most fortunate successes are mixed with sadness. Sadness usually results from one of the following causes: either when a man does not succeed or is ashamed of his success. So much sadness exists in the world that we are all under obligation to contribute as much joy as lies within our powers. Make the most of your regrets. Never smother your sorrow, but tend and cherish it till it comes. To have a separate and integral interest, to regret deeply, is to live afresh. Every man has his secret sorrows, which the world knows not, and oftentimes we call a man cold when he is only sad. You see, I usually find myself among strangers because I drift here and there trying to forget the sad things that happened to me. Better by far you should forget and smile than that you should remember and be sad. Don't grieve. Anything you lose comes round in another form. It is sadder to find the past again and find it inadequate to the present than it is to have it elude you and remain forever a harmonious inception of memory. It will never rain roses. When we want to have more roses, we must plant more roses. The good times of today are the sad thoughts of tomorrow. It's sad when someone you know becomes someone you knew. Tears come from the heart and not from the brain. Grief is not as heavy as guilt, but it takes more away from you. When you feel sad, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. It doesn't hurt to feel sad from time to time. Sad things happen. They do, but we don't need to live sad forever. You know, a heart can be broken, but it keeps on beating, just the same. Don't ever tell anybody anything. If you do, you start missing everybody. There is no sadder sight than a young pessimist, except an old optimist. As the light begins to intensify, so does my misery, and I wonder how it is possible to hurt so much when nothing is wrong. Tears are words the mouth can't say nor can the heart bear. Heavy hearts, like heavy clouds in the sky, are best relieved by the letting of a little water.